It's almost 50 years since Sir Robin Knox-Johnston completed his pioneering non-stop solo circumnavigation of the world.
Day 312, about 25 past 3 on April the 22nd, and Robin Knox-Johnston and Sue Haley have sailed non-stop around the world.
Nearly 3 decades later, the Clipper race was born. Sir Robin's concept was clear: sailing the world's toughest oceans in a circumnavigation around the planet. But not for an elite few. These would be everyday people with a thirst for adventure.
You know, life is for that, to take risks, to follow your dreams.
Now in the 11th edition of the biennial race, 700 participants from all walks of life, representing over 40 nationalities, will take on the challenge of dealing with whatever Mother Nature has in store. Battling the elements out on the world's greatest oceans, they will experience some of the toughest conditions imaginable. From hurricane-force winds to squalls that can knock a boat flat. From stifling heat to sub-zero conditions, and the danger of possible injury.
If you could imagine taking a cheese wire and almost cutting down that line.
They must learn to live with strangers, sailing 24 hours a day for weeks on end, all within the confines of a 70-foot yacht in the middle of the ocean. 40,000 miles, 13 races, 12 identical yachts, 6 continents, 1 unique challenge. This is the race of their lives. Coming up, after nearly a year of exciting sailing, the biennial Clipper race is approaching its finale. The North Atlantic provides a tense final ocean crossing, with one team experiencing a major setback. We meet a crew member whose life has truly been changed by the race, while others reflect on this extraordinary experience of circumnavigating the planet. And there's a spectacular finish to round off this incredible adventure, with the overall result going down to the wire. The Clipper race is a global series of 13 races between 6 continents over 11 months. Starting in England, the first race is a downward roller coaster to Punta del Este, Uruguay. Race 2 takes on the South Atlantic to South Africa, and then it's the infamous Southern Ocean sleigh ride. The Australia leg is split into 3 from Fremantle, including the iconic Sydney-Hobart race, ending in Airlie Beach, before heading to the city of Sanya in China for the first time. Then it's north to a wintry Qingdao, before crossing the mighty Pacific Ocean to Seattle. The US coast-to-coast leg is 2 races via the Panama Canal up to New York. The final race leg sees the fleet cross the Atlantic Ocean to Northern Ireland, before race 13 and the sprint to the finish back in Liverpool. It's been an incredible adventure for those taking part in this 11th edition of the Clipper race, having left Liverpool in England at race start 10 months earlier. They've sailed to Uruguay, crossed the South Atlantic Ocean to Cape Town, before one of the toughest crossings of the infamous Southern Ocean in the 20-year history of the race. Next was the all-Australian adventure that included the Blue Ribbon Sydney-Hobart race, before heading north through the tropics to China, where temperatures plunged. The Pacific crossing saw hurricane-force winds on the way to Seattle, USA. Then it was through the Panama Canal and finally the arrival into New York. The 11 Clipper race teams are based in Liberty Landing Marina under the watchful eye of the Statue of Liberty, which has greeted visitors to America for over 100 years. The crews enjoyed a packed social schedule in the Big Apple, along with sailing days, maintenance to the yachts, and the usual deep cleans all to be completed. It also marks the start of the final stage of the 2017-18 Clipper race, known as the Atlantic Homecoming leg, and as usual, there is a welcome event for all the new crew joining the teams in this changeover week. The Clipper Race management team are on hand to welcome everyone, and there's an air of excitement as people meet up and reunite with training crew, make new acquaintances, and meet some experienced returning crew too.
It's really exciting getting new, what we like to call it, new blood on the boat. It brings new enthusiasm. That's why we try and come down and meet them all and say hi and make everyone feel welcome.
And there's a returning circumnavigator who was injured just a few miles from the finish of the previous edition of the Clipper Race and had to be medevaced off the yacht.
Last year I was around the worlder and I made it all the way to 10 miles before the finish and I managed to dislocate my shoulder. I missed making the finish line by 10 miles. Circumnavigation was finished, but the finish line crossing was not there. So I'm here to do that.
Well-known British TV personality Dominic Littlewood, a type 1 diabetic, is embarking on his first ever ocean race and is hoping he can manage his condition successfully after completing the training without a problem.
Never ever gone across the Atlantic other than in an aeroplane. It's a box I've never ticked, and I don't know anybody else who has. And it's one of those things where I just think, what an amazing experience. It's something I will carry with me till my deathbed, I would imagine. We're all buzzing, we're all excited, we all just want to get out there now and do it. We all know it's the last leg now, it's the race home. We're excited. There's a little bit of trepidation, you know, the rest of it's just excitement.
Race 12 is the legendary race from New York to Derry-Londonderry in Northern Ireland. As usual, there is a scoring gate and the Elliott Brown Ocean Sprint, where teams can gain bonus points towards the overall race standings. It's a 3,100 nautical mile race across the North Atlantic. The crew are keen to get going, and on a beautiful morning, there is an air of anticipation for the crossing ahead. And many of the crew on the hotelplanner.com team are heading home.
I'm sailing into my hometown, and I've only actually sailed into my hometown 2 or 3 times before. And to be crossing the Atlantic to get into my hometown, 3,000 miles of a race, on the Clipper Race, on the back of sailing around the world, it's a dream. I'm super excited.
The achievement that we've all had so far is just way beyond anything I ever thought that I would achieve or complete in my life. To actually get this far and have made it is amazing. Just this last bit now, hopefully we can get that done and be circumnavigators.
And so, with final goodbyes completed, one by one, the crews slip their lines and bid farewell to America. Once out onto the river, the 11 yachts form up for a spectacular parade of sail along the Manhattan skyline. And the crews wave farewell to the city in front of this iconic backdrop for the final time.
I'll keep an eye on the way.
After an overnight motor to clear New York and its busy shipping lanes, it's safe to begin the race. The Le Mans-style start is now a tried and well-tested procedure, with all the yachts lining up together as the countdown continues.
So yes, here we are motoring to the Le Mans start. So woohoo! Last race, last Le Mans start, I think. So it's very, very exciting.
And new crew member Dom is also excited to get the race underway.
Well, this is what all the training was about. So it's now when you've got to start pulling it all out your memory bank and think, right, this is what I've got to do. There's no rest for the wicked, as they say, so it's just going to be sweating, working hard now, and all the way to Liverpool.
And And that's it. The countdown is complete, and all of the crews race forward to hoist their head sails and get up to racing speed. Although they have to wait 10 minutes before they can alter course for safety reasons. As if in a final salute to the Clipper race crews, shortly after the start, there's an amazing sight as pods of whales and dolphins come to see the race yachts as they begin their North Atlantic crossing. Coming up, the race is underway in perfect conditions as the teams begin a fast 14-day crossing to Northern Ireland. On the way, we hear how 10 months at sea has led to an important personal decision for one crew member, while another looks back fondly on his adventure. And there's a medical situation that forces a team to abandon their race and head straight to shore. The Clipper Round the World Yacht Race is a 40,000-mile adventure for amateur sailors, and the 11 teams have left New York and begun the penultimate race across the Atlantic Ocean, their final oceanic voyage. For a 23-year-old aboard hotelplanner.com, the race has truly been a life-changing experience. Almost a year earlier, she was a nervous novice sailor, completing her training at Clipper Race HQ in the UK, juggling her diary and wedding plans.
I never sailed before in my life, before starting Clipper. I live in Derry, so it's quite close to the port where Clipper comes in every year. So I've seen it come past for the past 6 years and thought someday I'm going to give this a go. And last year, I actually signed up the day they left the ports in Derry. So I thought I'm going to go for it next year. My mum is terrified, she's really nervous, but they're all really supportive, which is nice. They've helped me with everything from packing my clothes, fundraising, everything, getting me back and forward to training, so that's been it's been lovely. I'm getting married when I come back, so I actually changed my wedding date to take part in the race. I'd originally signed up for one leg, and then after level 1 I'd loved it so much that I decided I would try the whole thing. So we moved our wedding. So I don't feel quite as prepared as I should, but we'll learn along the way, I hope.
On the Liverpool 2018 yacht, led by skipper Lance, the team spirit and the bond between the crew has become strong over the course of the past year.
It's amazing. I can't believe we are nearly there. At some point on this race, we'll cross the line of longitude. That means we've crossed every line of longitude in the race, technically circumnavigating. But for me personally, it's when we get back to Liverpool, when the race is finished, that I feel like we'll really have done it. I've gained a huge amount from being a watch leader on this race. Mostly confidence in myself, confidence in my management style and my coaching, teaching kind of abilities. I've also developed a bit more of a robust attitude to how I deal with people. I think I came with the right attitude to the race, and I wasn't escaping anything from home. I came for an adventure, and that was the spirit in me when I started, and it's still very much the same spirit. I'd be really sad to leave Liverpool 2018. The boat has been home for the last year, and the crew have been family. But more than that, with such an intense environment, it's not really felt like it's been a year. The relationships that we've developed have been far more intense than a year of hanging out with people. It's been like 5, 10, 15 years, and these will now be some of my lifelong friends.
By day 5 of the race, the teams are still in close company, and the hotelplanner.com crew are enjoying their race.
At the moment, we're 400 miles into the race, and we're heading towards the ice limit. There's a virtual beach, a waypoint that we can't go north of. Because of ice, really, there's been ice predictions. We're getting a daily update of where there's been ice sightings or where they can spot it from satellites. And so we've set a limit probably 100 or so miles south of that, set by the race office. And that's near where the Titanic sank, actually, in, I think that was 1912. Right now the wind's increased a bit. We've got about 20 knots from the southeast, and that's pushing the boat right over. I'm just watching the gauge here at the moment. It's about 40 degrees, probably a little bit more than that sometimes. Life below is hard work. We have a rope in the saloon galley area where we can climb from one side to the other. And some crew members find it difficult to get in the top bunks. That's probably the biggest struggle at the moment, but everything's coping well. I'm super excited about my heading back to Derry-Londonderry. You know, almost completing the circumnavigation and going back in there. It's going to be very special. And yeah, I don't want to think about it too much because there's a lot of racing to do, a lot of sailing to do between now and then. When I get out of my bunk and think about it, I'm pumped and ready for this one.
However, across the water, the Liverpool 2018 crew have a situation causing concern. Type 1 diabetic Dom Littlewood has been taken ill after suffering serious seasickness, affecting his blood glucose levels.
We are 5 days at sea, about 1,000 miles away from New York. We had a very treacherous stretch of water where most people got very ill and started to feel the effects of the Atlantic. My diabetes, I got into a bit of a problem with it, and I've now got what's called ketones in my blood, which is basically a poison. And we've been trying to get rid of it for about the last 30-something hours. I've been quite ill and struggled to sort of get it back on track.
We've decided before we go out and venture across the big pond is to get him off.
It's a bitter blow for the team, and skipper Lance advises the crew of the decision after taking advice. There is no alternative but to head for the nearest shore and care for their fellow crewmate.
We are now changing course. We're going to have to be going through potential icebergs, so the temperature's going to drop a lot. We're going to have what's called bird nest watch, so people are keeping their eyes open for any icebergs. Clipper HQ will be informing us if there's any known icebergs in the area. Don't know how long that's going to take, but it's basically it's sort of messed a lot of people's plans up because we were doing very well in the race and we were catching a lot of people. So I feel a bit guilty, but I've been very impressed with the way things are turning out now. It's the quickest way to get me to the hospital, to get me looked after. So yes, sad for the rest of the crew, but unfortunately, as our skip says, it is what it is.
There's mixed emotions on the crew. We were doing really, really well this race, and that was very important to us because the last couple of races we have been a shambles. Boat's been slow. Finally, we had a fast boat. We were right up with the leaders and pushing them. We were making good decisions in terms of tactics, and it felt like this could have been our race. So that hurts a lot. However, it's obviously as a team, we all support each other, and if it was you, you'd like the team to stand behind you as much as hopefully we're standing behind Dom.
The training was brilliant, the camaraderie amongst everybody's great. The sailing's been amazing. We've seen whales, we've seen dolphins. It's just been a really, really great adventure. And I'm gutted that I can't finish it.
As the team changes direction and heads north, the rest of the Clipper race teams continue. And by the halfway point across the North Atlantic, the scoring gate looms, forcing a tactical decision on everyone, whether to alter course and try for bonus points, or stay on a more favourable heading to the finish. It all is going well for Cole's team so far in the race.
Here we are in the North Atlantic. We've got our next waypoint is at the end of the virtual ice limit. It's about 270 miles away. We're currently placed in about 4th place, actually. But from first to last, there's only 50 miles. So 10 miles behind the leaders, and we've got Dare to lead right behind us, less than 2 miles away. So we did a good change, so we just got to keep pushing and keep trimming well, stay in front of them.
A day later, and the Liverpool 2018 crew have reached St. John's in Canada, and Dom's condition has not improved.
It's been a very cold night, freezing, bitter rain, very heavy fog. And I've got to take my hat off to all the crew and the skipper and everybody on board. They all worked through the night. We got here nice and safely. I'm currently feeling very weak. I've got a standing pulse of 124, which is not particularly good. I'm extremely dehydrated, which is a sign of ketones for a type 1 diabetic. It's a warning sign. I can also smell and taste the acid in my breath. A very sad day for me. I was really enjoying every moment of my time aboard the boat. Everybody on there has been amazing. No one has moaned or groaned about the fact we've had to make the detour. I do feel deeply sorry for the fact that there's a lovely bunch of people on there who've all had to go out their way now, put the race on hold for me. But I'm not particularly well. I'm not capable of putting my weight in that boat. I'm a hindrance as opposed to part of a well-oiled machine. And you know, it's what it is. I'm just going to get sorted out, and hopefully it's nothing serious. And who knows? You know, maybe one day I'll be able to do it again. But for the time being, you know, my experience of a lifetime ends in Newfoundland.
And so they head back to rejoin the race, leaving their crewmate behind for the treatment he needs. Coming up, as the race continues, we meet a Uruguayan adventurer who seems to have finally found his true love. There's the young Irish sailor who is heading home, having made a difficult decision about her future. And there's a fabulous reception awaiting at the end of this final ocean crossing into the city of Derry-Londonderry. The Clipper race teams have left New York and are full speed across the North Atlantic, enjoying what has been a fast crossing so far. And there is a close battle at the front of the pack. But one team has had to detour for a crew member who fell ill, and so they diverted to Canada, but are now back racing again. Aboard the Liverpool 2018 team, there is disappointment at having to put their race on hold for the medevac. But all were resolved it was the right decision for their crewmate. It's yet another episode in this extraordinary circumnavigation for a Uruguayan adventurer who had never sailed before joining the race, but can now look back on some incredible experiences.
I have been helming the Spinnaker since leg 1, and I have the chance to helm it in really ugly conditions, and I call it the hot Spinnaker, and it was amazing. Also, I had a top moment in the Pacific when I had to grab the helm in an emergency, and suddenly it was 73 apparent wind speed, and it was like fast forwarding the life. It was like, and I couldn't get it out. It was all about taking the boat in the safe zone. Well, then all my underwater adventures, I've been under the boat already 5 times. Take all the nets, take all the things out of the propeller, and coming back on deck, and all my crewmates happy for me to sort that thing out. I feel really good. The cold of the Pacific, that was unbelievable. And I was watch leader, so I had to stay on deck like 6 hours straight because I couldn't trust the helm. Then they get better, so I start getting some chill moments in the middle. But whoa, that was cold. Super ugly cold, like freezing hands. My feet were almost dead. Oh, I learned to race, I learned to sail. I learned to have patience. I learned to lose too. I learned about a lot of people, nationalities, countries. Really, really looking forward to keep learning about all these things. So sorrow sometimes because the adventure is getting over, but at the same time, really, really happy because I'm gonna accomplish it and I'm gonna stay on land and enjoy other things in life.
Now well past the halfway point, this penultimate race is developing further, with hotelplanner.com leading the northerly pack of yachts.
The last 24 hours I've seen lots of different sailing conditions. Yesterday evening we passed the end of the ice limit and we were able to jibe north, and we've decided to use stealth mode to hide ourselves a little bit from the competition.
The battle at the front of the fleet is intense as the teams close in towards the finish. Visit Seattle, UNICEF and Garmin are locked together just a few miles apart. Having taken valuable bonus points for the scoring gate, the southerly track proving better. And there is also a fast crossing of the Elliott Brown Ocean Sprint with more bonus points on the line, as the Liverpool 2018 crew continue to make up ground quickly in favourable winds. The Visit Seattle team have carved out a fragile lead over UNICEF, which is playing its joker, thus doubling its finish position points, with Garmin third and sailing well. Meanwhile, overall race leaders Sanya Serenity Coast are not enjoying their best race, which could affect their chances of outright victory. For Roseanne, each mile under the keel is drawing her closer to home, and a new life awaits. Having sailed the toughest oceans on Earth, she's changed.
It's been a long year, it's been hard, and a lot of things have changed from I started the race. I was supposed to be getting married before I started this race, but now I'm not. So it's been quite a different experience than I expected it to be, but it makes going home quite exciting, and there's lots of new things going to happen, so that's quite good. After leg one, I spent a lot of time at sea. We had a lot of time to think, and I thought that it just wasn't the right decision to get married so young. It was quite nice to think about your life and all the different possibilities, and that maybe it wasn't a good time to settle down, which is quite a hard decision to make. Start of leg 4, Connell asked me to be watch leader, which was extremely exciting. So it was really good to develop a lot of skills that I'd never had the chance to do before, like leadership skills, communication, learning how to work with people and teach people of all different ages, from all different backgrounds. It definitely boosted my confidence a lot. Before the race, I was quite a quiet person. I struggled to speak to people a bit. Especially in work. I would always have thought that I couldn't have done better. Since doing this job on board and working with some of the people here, I've really learned that you can develop all your skills into whatever you want to be. There's no limits on success, and I've really learned to come out of my shell a bit and talk to anyone and everyone. For me as a person, I've definitely grown in confidence and just all-round positive attitude to life. We're nearly finished our circumnavigation, and it is something amazing we've achieved. There's not many people in the world that have done what a few of us have done. I've seen some really amazing things and experiences.
With a fast 13-day crossing of what can be an unforgiving ocean, it's Nikki Henderson and the team of Visit Seattle who win this legendary race, a critical victory in their bid for the overall Clipper Race title. Later in the day, as the crew arrive in Londonderry in Northern Ireland, a great reception awaits. It's a fabulous result for the team, as they still have their joker to play on the final race to Liverpool.
It was sort of go all out or kind of give up, and so we went all out, put everything into it every single day, pushing, and hopefully have opened the door to potential race win or a second place in the next one.
crew of UNICEF take second place, thus scoring a superb 22 points, having played their joker to double their score. And third into Derry-Londonderry is the Garmin team with another solid podium result. As the sun sets on the race across the Atlantic Ocean for the third and final time, hotelplanner.com is heading for the finish. Next day, they cross the line in 7th place, and the celebrations can begin. A welcome party has come out to greet them, including Roseanne's mother. After motoring down the River Foyle, there's a warm welcome awaiting the crew as they reach the city.
I can't believe we're here, to be honest. It's a strange feeling for me, but it'll take a few days to sink in, I think.
Oh, it's amazing. I've been looking forward to this for a whole year. I don't think I'm even past China yet. In my head, it's just, I can't even comprehend the fact I've sailed right around the world. And we're now about 1,000 miles from the finish of being complete circumnavigators. To be back in the UK is just, don't even understand yet. It doesn't seem real.
The Liverpool 2018 crew are the last to reunite with the Clipper Race family, having caught up magnificently after diverting to Canada. And there is delight after collecting 3 bonus points for an ocean sprint victory.
It's just hit that we've got basically 5 more days of racing and we're going home, and it's making me well up. Like, I don't really want it to stop.
That feels great. It feels like we've done it now. You know, we've circumnavigated the world. We've crossed all the lines of longitude. We're back here in familiar waters and essentially back at home.
Really excited about completing the mission. Really nice to be part of this Clipper world and looking forward to cross much more oceans. I want to keep doing this.
Now there is time for the crews to relax and enjoy the Irish charm in the city. Connell's parents invite his crew for an informal family barbecue down the coast to celebrate his return home. And there are mementos from the crew to remember their epic voyage together. Throughout the stopover in Derry-Londonderry, the Foyle Maritime Festival once again centres around the Clipper Race visit and proves to be a massive draw for visitors, with the city completely full.
How are we? Beautiful day for it.
The awards ceremony for the legendary race across the North Atlantic promises a huge party. Staged in the impressive Guildhall and hosted by the city and Mayor of Derry-Londonderry, excitement is high.
GT and the team of Garmin.
First onto the stage is the crew of Garmin to receive their pennants and awards.
Beggs and the team of UNICEF.
Next is UNICEF, who achieved their 3rd podium so far.
Skipper Nicky Henderson and Visit Seattle.
By scoring their 3rd victory in the Clipper Race, the crew at Visit Seattle can bask in their glory once more. So, with the trophies and points awarded, the situation with the overall race leaderboard is fascinating after this recent success. The Sanya Serenity Coast team have a clear points margin overall ahead of Visit Seattle, who have now moved into 2nd place. But Visit Seattle have yet to play their joker, so they have a possible 24 points available if they win the final race. Mathematically, it's still possible for the Qingdao team to take 2nd overall, with Garmin and PSP Logistics in contention for the 3rd podium place if the leaders perform badly.
To be on the podium for the team would mean a great deal. We've been there for the majority of the race, so I think, you know, I'd really like to get to help them get to a podium position. To win, you know, we always knew it was maybe in our reach, but definitely nothing secure. To win the race would be an unbelievable achievement for the guys, and who knows what will happen. It's been awesome racing against Nikki because she's so young and female and so switched on and so dedicated, and she has such a good rapport with her crew. They've got this really good crew sort of dynamics going on, so it's been awesome seeing her out there as well. The team really want to be on that podium. They've worked really hard with their eye on that prize the whole way, so for the team to win, they'll just be over the moon, you know. They have worked hard, so I really hope we can do it, and it's going to be a big party if it happens.
It's all down to the final race to Liverpool and the sprint up the Mersey. But before the fleet return to racing, the Foyle Maritime Festival hosts a spectacular light parade centred around the Clipper race yachts. It's a stunning night to remember, with the city of Derry-Londonderry showcasing its waterfront for the world to see. Coming up, tension is high as the final race of this year-long adventure approaches. There's time for reflection too, looking back on the achievements of these novice turned seasoned sailors. And drama in the very last race of this circumnavigation as the competition goes down to the wire. The Clipper race crews are in Derry-Londonderry, having completed the penultimate race in this circumnavigation around the planet. The trophies have been presented for the race across the North Atlantic and the points awarded. And so, all too quickly, it's time for goodbyes as the teams prepare to depart Derry-Londonderry on the final race of this circumnavigation after 11 months of hard and enjoyable sailing. But there is also tension in the air as the pressure is on for final overall positions. Playing their joker, the Visit Seattle team could win if they beat Sanya into Liverpool by a big enough margin.
There's an awful lot of little battles going on between various boats with almost equal points, but really the real tussle is in the lead, and it's our two lady skippers, because Sanya's got it to lose, but with Nikki playing her joker, she could do it. And so Nikki's the hunter, and Wendo's the one being hunted. I think this is going to be the most fascinating leg we've seen for a long time.
And there are nerves for the crews who cannot afford any mistakes.
It's going to be a great one because it's going to be very competitive because everyone's really going to give it their all and try to do well. So I think it's really going to be very interesting and a lot of fun to watch and participate in.
There's definitely nervous excitement there. I'm looking forward to competing at the front and then fighting for that first place. But at the end of the day, we've done amazingly well so far, and so it's just kind of, this is the added bonus, and we just got to go in there and we're just going to enjoy it.
With a mass crew photo to send them on their way, each of the teams slips their lines for the very last time in this 11th edition of the Clipper race. A moment of both sadness at the realisation this epic adventure is coming to a close, and yet excitement at the prospect of a racing finish into Liverpool, where they left almost a year ago. After the celebrations and emotion of the send-off, a line start is planned at Green Castle up the River Foyle, marking the entrance to the sea.
9, 8, 7, 8 seconds, 5, 4...
Coming out, trim on! Trim on! Trim! Gentle trim!
With a light breeze and flat conditions, race 13 is underway and it's extremely close. No team is over the start line prematurely, so it's all to play for. Now the tactics begin, as the Sanya Serenity Coast crew know they need to stay ahead of the Visit Seattle team by at least 3 places and finish 5th or better to win the overall race victory. So in match racing terms, they have to cover every move their closest rivals make. The race course has a number of waypoints that must be rounded for safety, but there is no scoring gate or Elliott Brown Ocean Sprint, so it should take 4 days to complete before a separate sprint up the Mersey. Overnight, the wind eases off, but by next morning, the yachts are heeled over and making good speed. There is concern for the Sanya Serenity Coast crew, however, as during the darkness, their main opposition slipped away onto a different course, and now they are behind. Is this a critical mistake that could cost them the overall race title? Below decks, the watch system is back in swing, 4 hours on and 4 off, as those on deck prepare for some well-earned sleep. On Sanya Serenity Coast, a father and son duo have been racing together for much of the circumnavigation, working with everyone on the team, an experience that has brought them closer together.
We have been living here on this boat, for me, for a full year, so it's going to go to an end. But, I'm also happy that we've done it. It's an achievement. It's a great adventure. It's going to stay in my memory for my whole life. And I'm going to move on and do something else.
It's going to be a tough re-entry. Living on a boat's very, very fun. And, it's a lot of tough work. But it's very rewarding as well, and immediately rewarding. The people that you're with are just really fun. The stopovers are great. You get to meet really interesting people there as well. But, I have to get back to the real world. Let's get a job again. So I'll do that and then hopefully continue doing some sailing on the side as well.
As the race continues, the wind is proving shifty and changeable as they sail down the west coast of Ireland. The leading pack sees a battle between the Qingdao crew and Liverpool 2018. Visit Seattle and Sanya Serenity Coast are in reach of each other again, having closed the gap in the prevailing conditions. It remains anyone's race. Aboard Visit Seattle, there's a brief moment of distraction from the race, as it's the skipper's birthday, and the crew have a surprise for her.
Happy birthday, dear Nikki. Happy birthday to you.
And there's even congratulations from her arch-rival on Sanya Serenity Coast, who are shadowing their every move, with a call from Wendy.
Oh, thanks, guys. 25 today.
By the 5th day, the finish line is rapidly approaching, and the battle between Liverpool 2018 and Qingdao sees the Chinese team with the lead and going for victory. The competition between the two main overall contenders has another twist, despite Wendy and her crew fighting to stay on Visit Seattle's tail. Skipper Nikki and her team have once again wriggled free and away.
Wendo's out of the back steering right now. She's very, very focused, working incredibly hard. She's really making sure that we get there as quick as possible and steering the best course to the finish.
We're just approaching the finish line now. We've got about 17, 18 miles to go. We've got PSP just in front of us. Unfortunately, Nikki got away with us last night through a little squall, which we got on the wrong side of. So we're just going hell for leather now trying to get PSP. What we've got to hope is that UNICEF stays in front of Nikki and we're okay. So we're just going as hard as we can.
There's tension on Visit Seattle as they have sailed well and are 2 places ahead of their rivals.
We've managed to pull away from Sanya and PSP, who are behind us, so we're in a good 5th position, and we're catching UNICEF as fast as we can. Maybe we can just pip them on the line, so that's what we're going for.
Qingdao is the first to finish, securing an excellent 12 points in this race, which ensures a 3rd place overall. But there are good results for Liverpool 2018, who finished this final race in 2nd place, with Garmin in 3rd. Shortly after them, it's Visit Seattle, who take a hard-fought 5th place across the line behind UNICEF, with huge celebrations, even though they know it's only good for 2nd place overall.
We
We knew that if we'd been UNICEF, we would have a chance of fighting for first tomorrow. But that's how it goes, and I'm chuffed to bits for second. Yeah, I feel proud of myself.
And shortly afterwards, finishing in 7th position in this race, it's Sanya Serenity Coast. But they know that a 5th place for Visit Seattle was not enough, and that they can celebrate victory overall as the 2017-18 Clipper Race winners.
A bit of shock, disbelief, joy, sadness. You name that emotion, I'm probably feeling it right now. Oh, look, these guys have been awesome. You know, I had a couple of good really sailors before we started who have brought the rest of the team up. So, you know, and everyone's given everything. So, yeah, everyone's contributed. So this is all down to the team. So I was really lucky to have such an awesome team.
The other teams sail by to congratulate the overall race winners. And so race 13 comes to a close, as one by one the teams cross the line and enjoy the moment. Now they prepare for the final sprint the following morning with valuable points up for grabs. It will not change the top 3 of the overall podium, but it could help other teams to improve their positions. It promises to be a dramatic finish for spectators and TV viewers around the world, as the teams race down the famous River Mersey to the finish line off the Royal Albert Dock. On Visit Seattle, circumnavigator Jerome takes a moment to reflect on his epic adventure.
I've tried to give every last ounce of energy I have in every race, so I think there's kind of an overwhelming feeling of tiredness and kind of just satisfaction that the job well done. We did what we needed to do in this race, so I think I'm just getting over that, and then the emotions will probably start coming in tomorrow when we get into Liverpool and the crowd are there and my supporters are there, and we start really celebrating the end of the race.
Early next morning, the celebratory mood has changed as the pressure mounts once again, as everyone prepares for the sprint finish into Liverpool, the very last race of this incredible circumnavigation. Crowds are building along the river, waiting to welcome back friends and loved ones, some who've been gone for almost a year. And there are bonus points at stake too. 3 points to the winner, 2 and 1 point for second and third to finish. For some teams, these points could make all the difference. The yachts line up for a final time into a Le Mans start, and with the wind over 20 knots, this promises to be a challenging race. Beating into the wind, it's a short sprint race of just a few miles, and the yachts are pressed hard over with reefed sails. Mother Nature is keeping the tension at peak level right to the end. Having enjoyed back-to-back podium finishes, the Garmin crew are determined to win points from this race and break to the front with excellent speed, carving out a clear lead approaching the mouth of the River Mersey. The racing is close, with the yachts at full speed. What a way to finish a circumnavigation of the globe. And it's Garmin that takes line honours and 3 bonus points, clinching 4th place overall. Second is the crew of PSP Logistics, who scored 2 vital bonus points and 5th place on the overall leaderboard. And third to finish is the homeport team of Liverpool 2018, to the delight of the crowds. All the yachts finish in quick succession. Now it's time to relax and for the celebrations to begin, with a victorious parade along the river to entertain the crowds. In reverse finish order, the yachts enter through the first lock into the docks, everyone relishing the moment that marks their return after more than 11 months away. And there's a massive welcome as the fleet ends its circumnavigation back in the Royal Albert Dock, where crew can step ashore for the final time. So the final race positions after the sprint race points are added show how close it was throughout. Chinese first-time entries Sanya Serenity Coast are victorious, just 4 points ahead of Visit Seattle, with Qingdao securing third place after dueling with the winners for many months of the circumnavigation. It's been a truly remarkable race around the world, with many of these amateur sailors leaving Liverpool almost a year earlier. Many were complete novice sailors before their intensive pre-race training, but they return as competent and experienced ocean racers, the circumnavigators having completed 6 ocean crossings in the most challenging conditions on the planet, including winds of hurricane force. They've returned as changed people, many with a new outlook on life and a new respect for nature, having experienced changing seasons, an abundance of wildlife, and some of the most beautiful vistas, and human isolation. Bonds of friendship have been forged that will never be broken. It's not been easy and the hardships have been severe, but the sense of accomplishment relished. The sea is unforgiving and there has been tragedy as well as triumph. Bruised bodies and egos, celebration and tears, extremes of searing heat and bitter cold, storms and calm. Above all, it has been physically and mentally demanding, but they have pulled through. Everyone, whether circumnavigators or those who joined for a single race leg or more, leave with an unparalleled experience, having undergone the adventure of a lifetime. Time for the award celebrations as the crews parade to the Museum of Liverpool, where each team is honoured on the main stage with a supercharged atmosphere. Chris Kobush and the Chinese sailing city of Qingdao are invited to receive their awards for reaching the podium in third place overall. And what a brilliant effort from the youngest skipper, Nicky Henderson, and the crew of Visit Seattle, second overall and only narrowly missing out on the top spot, a hugely popular result. And finally, as they approach the stage for their well-deserved moment of glory, it's Sanya Serenity Coast from China, achieving first place overall in their Clipper race debut. The skipper and crew celebrate their victory, and Wendy Tuck becomes the first female skipper in history to win an around-the-world yacht race. What an incredible performance to guide her team to victory. The overall Clipper 2017-18 Round the World Yacht Race Champions.